Justin Davis. Is that you? Mr. Davis, you're charged with indecent exposure. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
The complainant was jogging at White Oak Bayou Park in Harris County, Texas, and the complainant observed the defendant naked and masturbating next to a pool located inside Stewart Park. The complainant could see the defendant's penis, which was an open view of anyone walking on the trail. The officers arrived and observed the defendant sitting near the pool without pants and underwear and continuing to masturbate.
Is he currently registered as a sex offender? Can you see that now?
I can check, Your Honor. Your Honor, we can't find the information at this time. We'd have to make a call to the officer to find that he is registered, but at this time, we don't have that information.
Prior felony failures to register, you know? So what kind of conditions would you think? Michael?
Judge, I don't know the status of the housing of the defendant, but at this time, the state would ask for staying away from public places where children will go, like parks where the defendant was, staying away from schools, parks, public places, anywhere where children may go, is what I would ask.
How old are you, Mr. Davis?
41.
You're 41. What do you do for a living? So where do you live?
I live in a tent. My dog.
You live in the where?
In a tent.
He's homeless and lives in a tent.
I know, Judge.
And the problem is that this is not our first indecent exposure. This is not our first failure to register. So I'm going to appoint your lawyer today, and I'm going to see where we're going, because I don't know what conditions we can put to protect the public from you.
The issue, Judge, is the underlying registered case is an indecency of a child from 2004, and that's why I'm harping on you staying away from children.
Okay, so we're going to have to do a deep dive on this. So
Yes, Judge.
I'm going to have you sign a receipt of Victoria, and then I'm going to take you a seat in the jury box. Don't go anywhere, Mr. Davis, please.
Right now, the numbers you're pressing, did you do 991 in the code?
No, just 9 and then just that number. Do I need to do a one? Sure.
Do 91.
Houston is last name.
Hi, you've reached 125.
I don't know. Until I know that he has a place, then I will.
Okay.
So just keep me in the loop. Hi, Jillian.
I'll return, but I have another court to go to.
Okay.
She calls me.
Thanks. Stephen, ready? Ready? Come on. Mr. Davis, come up.
So Judge, just an update on what I found through my research. It looks like the underlying conviction that the defendant has that requires him to register as a sex offender is called an attempted indecent liberties with a child case, and it's out of Kansas. When you look at chapter 62, which are the requirements for who needs to register and how, there's a definition in subsection 10 for what's called an extra jurisdictional registrant, which just means someone that's out of state that's been convicted. And the rule states that they just have to follow the out-of-state reporting standards. When I looked at the Kansas reporting standards, there's 3 requirements for sex offender registrations. It's 15 years, 25 years, or life. So because of this conviction, he has to at least register. The least amount is 15 years. Since it was from 2004, that means he's actively non-reporting and committing a state jail felony by not actively reporting, which.
Well, I think it is, isn't
It would end in 2019, I think, right? If it's,
it? So what?
So then you're correct, Judge, it is a 3rd degree.
So failure to register as a sex offender is a 3rd degree, number
Yes,
1.
Judge.
I thought.
Yes,
think-
Judge, you're correct.
Is he required to register as a sex offender?
that's the issue. So if it was from 2004 and then 15 years after that, my understanding from him is that his duty to register ended in 2019. So I don't know. Did you say it was 04?
Somewhere, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
if he's been here, we have here as far back as 2009, there's an assault of a family member. We have failure to register as a sex offender 2 times in 09 and then in 11. So at a minimum, if he's registered at least 1 time, he should be in the sex offender registry. All that information should be in the registry as far as what his information is about. So if I pull up the registry now, which I'm going to try to,
I looked it up, Judge. I don't see his name anywhere. I don't see it at all when I look up his name.
And I believe it may be because this 15-year period ended. If the conviction was 04, then I think so 2019 would have been the ending point for that 15 years, which is what he's told me that 2019 was the end of the reporting requirement.
you have to understand, Mr. Davis, that I'm going to do everything in my power to protect every single person of Harris County. If you're supposed to register as a sex offender and you're not, I'm not giving you a PR bond because it shows me that you are willfully not following the law. And I have the right to find your bond insufficient to revoke it and raise it up. Now, I'm not going to go crazy, but I want to protect my public. And you're out there allegedly you've got this new indecent exposure. I see that you're a registered sex offender and that you potentially need to be, and you're committing felonies every single day that you're not registered. Now, if you can show me somehow that you're not supposed to register, then okay.
In fact, he had shown me something on his phone that had like the ending date. So I can check and see if that's something I can provide.
I got to understand, I'm not going to take your word for it. I got to see some kind of proof. We have 2 failure to register as a sex offender, so he got punished for those. When he got out and when he completed the punishment, did he never go and register again? I mean, I got to imagine that the day you complete your sentence, you got to go register.
Well, they can't force you to, Judge. It's on you as the defendant to go
So
do your registration.
from 2011, no one has gone after to see if he's just.
When we called them, they said they haven't heard from him. Morgan, when was the date?
It's they.
The certification officers that are assigned to this defendant. I believe their name's Officer Cooper, that he's supposed to follow.
Spoke to them?
I spoke to Ms. Cooper. She's with the organization that, like, I guess they come to. So he is on her list of people that's supposed to be reporting.
So he is supposed to report.
She told me that he has not checked in since May of 2019, and I asked her if he's supposed to be checking in, and she said he's registered as homeless, he's supposed to check in every 30 days. And when I
Yeah.
called back to speak to her about charges being filed, she transferred me to the compliance office.
And then
what? Filing a new charge for failure to register. So I'm not sure about the requirements of the reporting period, but they didn't mention anything to me about him not being supposed to register, if that makes sense.
Do you have her phone?
I'm sorry?
Do you have her phone number now?
Yes, I have the phone number for the actual office, and then I had to ask for Ms. Cooper. So if you'd like, I can ask for her phone number directly and call her back.
I mean, because I have to imagine that if he wasn't supposed to register, if he had no duty, then she would have told you, no, he doesn't have a duty, he doesn't have to register. But you're telling me she told you that he was supposed to register and he hasn't been since 2019.
That is what she told me.
It's unacceptable. I mean, and because he's homeless, I don't find that I can protect the public because
But Judge, the last thing we're trying to do at this point is trying to figure out what the reporting requirement is for the specific offense, because the larger offense.
concern is, are you supposed to report or not? And if you are and you're not reporting, I have a problem with
It should.
it, right?
So I'm looking at, it's offenderradar.com is kind of where he was looking it up, but I don't know. There's thinking it's a state registry, it had the ending date of registration within 2019.
What is offenderradar.com?
I'm not sure, it was just what he was,
That's what I got here.
it says it's pulled from the Texas registry though. I don't know if I'm able to find that link. Texas registry.
Here, do you want to send that to him?
Do you-
To what that says is that the registration ending date was in 2019. But regardless though, from 2011 to 2019, he still hasn't registered at all. I don't know.
Either way, Judge, the big issue here is there's all these sexually related offenses, and now he's doing it again in a public park where there's people congregated, families, children. and-
I get it.
Yeah,
Would you please call back and see, was he supposed to register or not? Would you please? And then, yeah. Mr. Davis, take a seat in the jury box, please.